You know that place you can get to when your head's saying something and your body's saying another. So you know you don't want to feel jealous, angry, afraid, stressed, and yet somehow your body seems to be betraying you. You're very clear about how you want to respond, that you'd like to nip that thing in the bud, and yet somehow your body is holding a different story. Well, there's a wonderful technique that I'd like to talk to you about today, because once you gain an understanding of this and you start to apply it in your life, you can really get your mind and your body aligned. So when you make a choice, the whole of you comes with you, and you're not in that place where you're having to use willpower, trying to fit yourself into a different shape when you're not quite ready to go there yet. It's a gentle way of easing the body into feeling safe, and it's called Emotional Freedom Technique, or EFT. It's also called tapping, energy psychology. The fabulous thing about tapping is it gets straight to the point. It's not about positive thinking. It's not about forcing yourself into a way of being, because very often we can see ourselves quite clearly. We know that there's habits and patterns that trip us up. We know that we'd like to nip something in the bud because we can feel ourselves starting to go off track. We might have started something new, things are going really well, and then that old sort of self-sabotage creeps in again. And what I love about tapping is you start from where you are. So when you begin this practice, and what it does involve is just really simply tapping on certain acupressure points in the body, and at the same time being honest. So if you're working with a fear or a phobia, you are getting stuck in a habit, you're wanting to change your diet, you're finding that you haven't got boundaries and you'd really like to be able to say no very clearly, that the possibilities are endless with this technique, and it's something you can really experiment with. And the way it works is when you tap on certain points in the body, you are calming down the area of the brain that sets off the stress response, which is the amygdala. So the amygdala is the ancient part of the brain that governs the stress response, the flight, the fight, or the freeze. And it's responsible for, it's like a smoke alarm in the body. It tells the body, get ready, and will set off the cascade of stress hormones in the body. So for example, we might be really clear on, okay, next time that happens, I'm just going to breathe, I'm not going to get involved, and you're very clear about how you want to respond. Or I'm not going to eat a chocolate cake, I'm going to remember how I felt after that. You're really clear about something, and then suddenly something else takes over. And it's that habit, it's that moment the amygdala is really on high alert, sends the stress hormones into the body, and you will do what you've always done because that's what you know. And when we go into stress, when we don't feel safe, we'll go back to what we know, even if that thing didn't make us happy, is not very fulfilling, sometimes is actually harming us. We know that it's harming us. And so understanding that, when you go to work with this technique, it's really wonderful. It's like a sigh of relief often to go, do you know what? I can just be where I am. And as I work with my body and get deeply into the layers, then it will naturally change. My name's Leanne Campbell, and I'm a life and wellbeing coach. And I specialise in somatic practices, because when you use somatic practices, you're getting right to the core. You're going to the place that holds you in the habit, that wants you to stay doing what you did yesterday, because today you'll know what's going on and you'll survive. And when we use somatic practices, we can step over that and really break into that place where we're willing to experiment, we're willing to experience something new. I'm also a co-creator of a Handpicked Life, which is a membership platform, and all the details are below if you want to check us out. So let's get back to tapping and deepen our understanding, because when you understand something, it helps you open that door a little bit more. Want to be willing to actually use it, because again, how many times have we heard about something that's really great? We know if we do that thing, it will make a difference, yet somehow we can't quite get there. And often reminding yourself of why you want to do this. So when you begin to tap, you don't need to change anything. If you've had a really bad day, you can imagine that you're picking up a phone to a friend and you start to tap on these particular points. And if you want to know what the points are, then you can check out our video that will just take you through a really simple routine and get you started. But once you start tapping, the body automatically responds, and the amygdala will then start to decrease in activity. And when the amygdala is calm, the body has the okay signals. So as you're tapping, you're saying to yourself, this isn't a trauma. And you can be talking about the trauma. You can be as angry as you want, you can stress as you want, as anxious, as jealous, whatever it is. If you're being honest and what you're saying is really making sense and resonating with you, and you're saying to your body at the same time, you can calm down, it's okay, it's safe. You'll get to that point where you'll realize that the charge has been taken out. And the more you keep tapping, you can get to that point where you can totally feel at ease. So that might be, again, that person that triggers you, a particular situation, that spider that you're afraid of. When you use tapping and you're actually setting up this dialogue with your body, you're acknowledging your fear, you're being honest, and it's a beautiful way to get you started. I've found with the hundreds of people that I've worked with and through my own experience, what happens is we often think when we're going to let go of something that we're going to feel completely elated, and we're quite excited about making the change. But when you actually start to work with this, what very often happens, because we get to a place of peace, you look back and what I hear clients often say is, I can't really get that anymore. Oh, I don't know. I'll ask them where they're at with it in the middle of a session, and they'll say, well, I don't know. I can't really think of that anymore. And to me, that's a really good sign that when you make change, it should be gentle and subtle and sit as something normal. And very often when we get that big elation of, yes, I've done this for 5 days, I've broken through, I've kept to my regime, I've forced myself not to eat that, and you get that real high, chances are there's that part of you that's going to come back and go, hang on, let's go back to what we know. So again, with this wonderful technique of speaking to the amygdala, speaking to the stress response, and being honest, it helps you to gently make the steps to the point that then that's the norm. It's not such a big deal anymore. You're able to just sidestep into something rather than using willpower or force to get you there. So not only does tapping reduce the amount of stress hormones in the body, it actually boosts our happiness hormones. So the hormones that are responsible for the feel-good factor, being able to bond, for feeling that we have a place in society, are painkillers, are natural painkillers in the body. The hormones that help us to repair. Everything gets boosted when you tap, because as soon as you start to take stress out of the body, then you can really get to that place of joy and ease and flow. That's when stress is out of the body, so we're not looking just to survive. Then you can step forward and really thrive. And tapping is a great way to get you into a habit of feeling good. So I hope that this video has given you a deeper understanding, and I certainly hope that it's inspired you to go and experience it for yourself. check out our EFT for beginners video and try it for yourself, experiment with it, get curious about how you can use this to really empower yourself, to get yourself on track, to step over those barriers that you know just keep coming up against, and keep us posted. Thank you for joining us.